Hi guys, welcome to episode 15 of Gem at the Movies, a segment here on my YouTube channel where I take a look at some movies either recent or old but gold. And today we're going to take a look at a movie that deals on gender equality, and it's sort of like a advertisement for the US Navy turned into a movie, just like Top Gun. The movie we're going to review for today is G.I. Jane, starring Demi Moore. The movie was released in 1997 and it had a budget of 50 million and it made only 48 million in the box office. The movie was directed by Ridley Scott, known for the Alien series, Blade Runner, Gladiator, and The Martian. The movie is scored by composer Trevor Jones, known for movies like The Dark Crystal, Notting Hill, Cliffhanger, and The Last of the Mohicans. The film's main star is Demi Moore. She's known, of course, for her work with Ghost, A Few Good Men, Charlie's Angels, and Striptease. Her character name in this movie is Lieutenant Jordan O'Neill. Now, that name seems like the names of two of the greatest basketball players put together, Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal. Now, a young Demi Moore in the 90s was a pretty hot commodity back then. She was attractive, she was sexy. I mean, you would watch a movie with Demi Moore in it just to look at her face all day. But despite being known for her beautiful face, she had acting chops, and she got to voice Esmeralda in Disney's production of The Hunchback of Notre Dame as Esmeralda. Now, let's talk about Demi Moore's role here in G.I. Jane. When it comes to her acting, it wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad either. She had a really challenging role to play in this movie. You gotta appreciate her for taking all of that physical abuse that she went through, because her role is supposed to be the first woman that underwent Navy SEAL training. If you look at Demi Moore at that time, she was looking great. She was athletic, she was physically fit, and you can see that she prepared for her role. And the way she played her character throughout the movie was pretty convincing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the other characters of this film, starting with Viggo Mortensen. Of course, we all know Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. So in this movie, he plays Master Chief John James Urgale, the assigned instructor to the new trainees. Now, when I got to watch this movie again, my first thought from beginning to end of the movie was like, hey, I know that guy. I just can't remember what movie I watched him in. And I kept thinking, could that be Viggo Mortensen? I mean, the Aragorn Viggo Mortensen? And I googled up the cast, and it was Viggo Mortensen. It's just his unmistakable eyes and nose, even though he had a mustache in this movie. Urgale was tough, he was strict, he was an ass. But he needed to be an ass in order to properly train these would-be Navy SEALs.
Pain is your friend, your ally. It will tell you when you are seriously injured. It will keep you awake and angry and remind you to finish the job and get the hell home. But you know the best thing about pain? Oh no! It lets you know you're not dead yet.
And in the beginning part of the movie, he didn't like Jordan very much. He didn't like the idea of fighting side by side with a woman in combat. I think Vigo played the part of Master Chief really, really well. He was scary, he was intimidating, he was doing his job, and he had the responsibility of producing the best soldiers. Now, let's talk about the other important character in this movie, Senator Lillian DeHaven, who is played by Anne Bancroft. Senator DeHaven was tasked with selecting a female candidate who was gonna go through the Navy SEAL training. And she happens to choose Lieutenant Jordan O'Neill because she was athletic, but at the same time, she still looked more feminine than the other candidates. And she underestimates Jordan because she thought that Jordan wouldn't even make it through the first week of training. Okay, let's talk about the accuracy of the film. Just a little disclaimer, I don't claim to be an expert on the subject matter, that is Navy SEAL training. I just did some research. I watched videos on YouTube about SEAL training so that I can have a comparison if G.I. Jane's scenes were accurate. This movie was made in 1997, so there may have been some changes or additions since then to the training. So back in 1997, this film had received quite a lot of negative comments due to its inaccurate portrayal of the trainees being mistreated or abused during the program. Also, that the Navy didn't really allow women to partake in Navy SEAL training. The script had to be revised again and again to the Navy's approval. What is accurate about this film is that the trainees did their exercises in cold weather. This was to build both physical and mental toughness. They went in and out of cold water and did push ups, as well as carrying rubber boats and rolling big barrels. They also went through enemy capture, enemy interrogation training. When I watched the documentaries on YouTube, it was pretty accurate, except they didn't show the drowning test, wherein the trainee had to swim with both of his hands tied behind his back. And they had to obtain objects underwater by just using their mouth. And of course, if the trainees felt that they couldn't go on, they could always ring that big bell 3 times, and that would be the sign that they were quitting. So let's talk about the plot of the film. The movie opens with a Senate hearing with Senator Lillian DeHaven, and she's asking why the Navy isn't allowing more women to participate in combat training in the Navy. So she was tasked with selecting a female candidate who would undergo SEAL training, and if this candidate was to pass, the Navy is going to integrate more women into combat training. So enter Jordan O'Neill, a topographical analyst for Navy intelligence. She is selected for the program because she's athletic, yet she was still feminine. Jordan accepts the training, but she didn't want to be treated any differently from the guys. So upon her arrival at the camp, she was already being mocked, and she was already being sized up by the guys.
No split tails getting through this program. No way, Jose.
I hate to speculate, but I know I petitioned for 2 years to get into this program. That's 2 years of letter writing, 2 years of pulling strings, and now I finally get here and it's gone co-ed?
And even though she asked for similar treatment, she was still being treated differently. So the first day begins and they get introduced to Master Chief Urgale, who is going to supervise their training. Now Urgale comes up to O'Neill and reminds her that he has been given orders to treat O'Neill differently from the other trainees. So the training begins and she's doing really, really well, keeping up with the other guys. She gets partnered with a group of guys named McCool, Wickwire, Cortez, and Slavnik. Now, Cortez was kind of being a bully to O'Neill in the hopes that she might give up and ring the bell. They go through an obstacle course that simulates a real war zone, and the trainees have to crawl through the mud with barbed wire and then climb up the wall and finish. And again, O'Neill was being given special treatment because she was given a step in order for her to easily climb the wall. At first, she was trying to get rid of the step and she was helping some of her other trainees to get up to the wall. But when it came to Cortez, Jordan helped him climb up the wall, but Cortez did not help Jordan. But she was surprised to know that she had still gotten a better score than Cortez, meaning she was still being given a different treatment. She decides to confront Master Chief about it, and Master Chief just dismisses her. And of course, in an iconic scene, she shaves all her hair off in order for her to better fit with the guys. Jordan makes it through the Hell Week, but through a secret photographer taking pictures at the base, word gets out that she passed. So the next part of the program is the SERE training, SERE. It's like a simulated infiltration of the enemy base. Cortez fails to follow orders and they are captured by the enemy, which are the instructors. In SERE training, they are taught how to handle an interrogation and how to not give away information to the enemy. Urgale ties Jordan up to a chair and tries to torture her by dunking her head in cold water. But O'Neill fights back and eventually she earns the respect of Urgale and the other guys. O'Neill then gets invited by a fellow female officer to spend some time at the beach, unaware that she was being photographed again by this secret photographer. She gets summoned by the captain under suspicion that she might be a lesbian. Jordan calls the charges ridiculous, and she rings the bell 3 times with a baseball bat, signifying that she has had it with all the accusations. Jordan confronts Senator DeHaven, and she is told that she was never meant to succeed the program.
I wonder what Secretary Hayes would think about this. If he was to know how you dealt me away. For bases. For votes.
DeHaven did what she did to prevent bases in Texas from closing. Threatening to expose the senator, DeHaven finds a way for Jordan to get back into the training. As a last resort, the trainees embark on a very important mission to aid a group of U.S. Army Rangers who were assigned to retrieve a satellite powered by weapons-grade plutonium that landed in the Libyan desert. The Master Chief shoots a Libyan soldier to protect Jordan, but it also alerts the enemy. And because Jordan had experience as a topographical analyst, she analyzes the route that the Master Chief was going to take to regroup with the others. The Master Chief gets shot, and Jordan pulls him into safety before triggering the explosives that they had planted. They managed to fend off the enemy, and the backup helicopters arrive on time. So graduation day comes, and the trainees are now full-fledged Navy SEALs. And O'Neill receives a special medal from Urgale, which is inserted into a book of poems under the passage of self-pity. And that is the end of the movie. Okay, final thoughts on this movie. Right off the bat, women empowerment. What men can do, women can do too. It's the whole theme of this movie, especially considering that Jordan went through the world's toughest soldier training program that was not even meant for women. But she proved that she can go through all the obstacles and earn the respect of her co-trainees who were male and her instructors. For me, it's not the best movie, but it's still a very good watch, especially with its significant message. Although it's a female-led movie, I would recommend this movie to someone who aspires to be a soldier or is already a soldier but aspires to join the special forces, because you'll get to see what a soldier goes through to become what he is, to become disciplined, to become tough, to be prepared for any situation that he might encounter on the battlefield. I wouldn't classify G.I. Jane as a war movie, but more of the training process. Okay, guys, so that is it for my movie review for today. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and hit that notification bell to be informed if I post a new video. So that's it for today, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Bye!